Mali and Burkina Faso from Ecowas. And to help us explore this further is a former Consul General to Hong Kong, an ambassador to Libya. He joins me on the news at 7 from Abuja. Ambassador Mohammed Ibrahim, good to have you join us. All right, so Ambassador Ibrahim.
Thank you very much.
All right, so the actual protocol, the protocol requires that a 1-year notice is given before withdrawal, after which ECOWAS will check if all requirements have been fulfilled. But we understand that this wasn't done in this particular case. What is the implication of a breach in protocol?
Well, the government still, the three countries still have their obligations under the treaty. You just don't give a overnight, you don't just decide overnight that we're withdrawing from an organization, a community like ECOWAS or AU or the UN. You have signed the treaty. Article 91 of the treaty, revised treaty, has made it very clear the way a member state should withdraw. You have to write a letter to ECOWAS and give 1-year notice, but even then, for within the transition period, you still have obligations under the treaty. You have to respect your obligation under the treaty. So what the three governments have done is strange, is unacceptable. No responsible government will behave the way they have done, probably out of ignorance or self-inflicted frustration. But they are yet to inform ECOWAS formally of their decision to withdraw. So we're waiting for that communication to ECOWAS.
And what if there is no formal or official notification to ECOWAS by these three countries? What then happens?
Well, if there is no formal notification, then there is no withdrawal. The article is very clear. They are signatory to it. They have signed and ratified the revised ECOWAS treaty. It's not a long article. I'm sure they can read and understand. You know, probably they are just testing the waters. So let's wait and see.
And some have said, look, they are military men and do not have respect for protocols like this. But there are also those who argue that, look, when ECOWAS was formed in 1975, a majority of the heads of state at that time were also military men. And so what has changed? But I also want to ask you, what is the way forward for ECOWAS, if you were to advise them? How should they handle this, understanding that these are military men?
Well, I have read and heard people mentioning those days, you know, when, you know, coup was so rampant. The revised treaty of 1993 and the ECOWAS protocol on democracy and good governance of 2001 were all adopted with the principal objective of minimizing continuous coup in ECOWAS. So those old practice of the 80s and 90s cannot be used as a good example for in 2024 by the 3 or 4 ECOWAS member states that have military regime now. And thank God, not even the whole 4, Guinea has not joined them. So these 3 who are threatening to withdraw from ECOWAS, as I say, we have to wait and see receipt of formal notification, you know, from them. It is really sad that after 49 years, ECOWAS is finding itself, you know, in this situation. But personally, I think the Article 91 is there because those who framed the treaty believe that one day a member state or a group of states would decide, these are sovereign states, they would decide on their own that they want to withdraw. Let them simply adhere to the requirement, of the article. And indeed, the tragedy is very clear, the way Ecowas started. If you see the model of the European Union, which is really the best model in the world, it didn't start with 27 member states. It started with 5, then it went to 12, then it went to, and it continued to increase. First of all, you have to accept the principle of that community. You have to adhere to your responsibilities and your obligations. There have to be a lot of harmonization of policies, political, economic, social, so that you will all be traveling on the same direction. Unfortunately, it hasn't happened in ECOWAS. It was just a decision to carve out a certain geographical area and say this is ECOWAS. And they are moving different directions. It's just like, you get monkeys, you get goat, you get, and ask them to say they will be going different directions. So, in a sense, if we have to reset ECOWAS and move in the same direction, respecting the principles for integration, it is better for ECOWAS. Those who don't want to respect or are not interested in the community, then they can walk out. It's a pity it has taken 49 years. You can see what happened in the EU. The UK decided to leave the EU. It has not affected EU in any way. Indeed, in some cases, the EU has moved forward. So we are happy it's coming like a shock now. But if they sincerely don't want to be in ECOWAS, why do you force them to be in ECOWAS? ECOWAS is an association of states that wish to integrate their countries into one community under certain principles, under harmonization of policies. But if you have one or two that don't believe in these principles, and you are forcing them, it's just like marriage. It's not going to work.
Absolutely, and many are saying this might also just be another strategy.
In the state, probably it's even a blessing.
Negotiations, but I think we do have to leave it there. Ambassador, my apologies for butting it that way. We do have to leave it there. Thank you so much for talking to us. Former Consul General to Hong Kong and Ambassador to Libya. Thank you, Mohammed Ibrahim. Thank you for talking to us on the News at 7.